All right, today's podcast is going to be filtered around the question I get almost every single day of my life, ever since I've been online, and just before even online, is it the right time to invest? And so the short answer, if you don't want to listen to this podcast and just go on with your day and, be uneducated on this whole topic, the answer is yes. So if you're ever listening to this and you're wondering what my answer is going to be, it's just yes, you should be investing. But if you want to know the actual behind the scenes data and also my take on this, then you want to listen to this entire thing. And you want to be able to come with data at any given point in your investing journey, because anything emotional along the lines of investing is going to have you broke really, really quickly. And your best friend talking about Bitcoin and your best friend talking about NVIDIA and whatever the hot stock or the hot commodity is at the time. You know what I'm talking about. Those types of people, the broke people out in the world. Yeah, we don't do that here. We actually use data. And your favorite stock Discord trader telling you when to buy and when to sell, yeah, we don't do that here. We actually get rich. And we get rich off doing what we actually talk about versus through a Discord channel that gets us rich. No shots fired. Anyways, today we're going to be talking about the long-term mindset of what you need to know as an investor when it comes to, is it the right time to invest, and the data that goes into this decision. So investors with a long-term mindset can successfully invest in pretty much any condition. And I think that's the overall messaging I want to get across today, and very specifically that. And there's a reason behind this, though, because trying to time the market, which is essentially what you're going to be doing if you say, is it the right time to invest, and decide it's not, or it is, whatever the case is, you're just timing the market, which is literally the most fundamental rule of all time. Timing the market is always going to lose to time in the market. That was the first quote I ever heard from somebody I knew and talked about investing with. It was actually in Cincinnati, Ohio. I was in a locker room at Cincy Sports Mall. It was one of my clients at Deloitte. And I had a guy I was talking to in the locker room. And the first thing he said to me when we were talking about investing, I was like, yeah, I'm really interested and stuff like that. And he said, you know what, my friend? Time in the market is always better than timing the market. That has stuck with me ever since. And that guy was also at a sports club at 55 years old, retired early, and super successful. I'm going to listen to that guy versus the get-rich-quick people online that most of you guys are listening to. But I hope at this point you come to your senses that you listen to Budgetdog stuff and you just don't listen to all these other people out there trying to promote some get-rich-quick stuff that they want you to pay into their Discord to learn and to trade and constantly keep your adrenaline and your dopamine going to get the next hottest stock pick. We don't do that here, like I said. And so I align with some of the greats. This isn't just my opinion. One, like I said, is based on data. And two, it's based on some of the most smart people in the world. Warren Buffett, for example. He says, I make no attempt to forecast the market. My efforts are devoted to finding undervalued securities. That is all he's doing. He's always invested. So he says, instead of asking, should I invest right now? He says, which stock should I be buying right now? And that's the messaging that Warren Buffett has. Or if you're like Peter Lynch, and he says, far more money has been lost by investors preparing for corrections or trying to anticipate corrections than has actually been lost in corrections themselves. The next recession, the next correction, the next dip, the next whatever, you're not going to pick the right time. And the earlier you understand that and you realize you have odds of a casino, the better off you're going to be. The average investor over the last 20 years has returned 3.6%. That is below homes, for example. Homes return 3.8%. So if you literally just put all your money in a home, which is a horrible investment, you would perform better than the average investor. That's super concerning, in fact. And I don't want you to be the average investor. I want you to be the average market or even a little one up on the market. And I think that is a really, really important piece of the puzzle. If you are just the market, you have a 9.7% return over the last 20 versus the average investor at 3.6%. That alone is millions of dollars of difference. And I'm going to show you specifically what this actually means. So if you took $100,000 and you had that sitting there in an investment and you then invested $2,500 a month going forward for 30 years and you were the average market, so you were just getting exactly what the market returned, nothing special, outside of what we talk about, you would return about $6.2 million at the end of the 30 years. But if you decided to listen to your favorite stock Discord trader or think that someone sounds intelligent online or you're trying to follow the money, like people say, all these, oh my God. And they're always traders. They're never like actually people that are rich with an actual net worth like myself. So it's always really frustrating to see these people just absolutely scamming you. And the average investor over the last 30 years having the 3.6% return with the same exact scenario we just talked about would have $1.8 million at the end of the 30 years. That's a $4.4 million difference. And so when I say I help people literally overcome millions of dollars of difference, this is like one of like 28 examples I use, is literally learning how to hit your financial goals, which is the whole entire purpose of this entire question to begin with. A lot of people come to me and ask me the question, is it the right time to invest? Should I pick this stock? Should I do this? What allocation should I have? The whole point of all things investing is to learn to hit your financial goals, because that's what you came here to do, is to build wealth in order to hit your financial goals. And I think that's the problem. Most people aren't defining this. They're novices. So if you want to literally learn how to do this and specifically set up your investments, literally in the show notes below, for less than the cost of a burrito, you can do so. Less than a cost of a burrito. So you need to learn this fast because time's everything, like I said. But it is not a challenging game if you ask the right questions and you think about this the right way. It's actually extremely easy, and all my students come to realize that with time, is this game wasn't as hard as it was made out to be. But a lot of novices come into the game and they don't set their financial goals. So they just go in with the intention of, oh, I got to get rich. And that comes from a poor mindset, a lacking mindset. And so what I always say is the first thing my students do within the academy, outside of the behavioral mindset approach and, working with my team, my student success team, the big piece of that is defining what your goals are. Because if I know your financial goals, I can help you get there pretty easily. And you don't have to be a stock market genius to do so. You just have to set yourself up in the right vehicles for a long period of time and do the same thing over and over and over and automate the entire process. It's a foregone conclusion. Every one of my students will hit their financial goals. It's a super easy process, and I make it easy intentionally. So as you can see, this example is scary, but I see it all the time. And so if you think you can time the market and you actually have the arrogance to believe that you're smarter than the market, or you have the inside stock group, or you can, savagely destroy a 10K, which, by the way, that was my old job, and I was able to do that at a high rate, and I actually understand 10Ks, and I still wouldn't do that and have the confidence to pick the right time in the market for the right company by doing that, because they're backward-looking, one, and number two is there's a lot of other things in the market that you can't control, like politicians and society going one direction versus another direction, and somebody getting canceled, and all. You can name a million different things that you can't foresee in a 10K that could play out real time. Or TikTok being forced to sell to a US-based company. Or TikTok being forced to sell to a US-based investor. That stuff you can't foresee on a 10K. You can't foresee in your technical chart that you're looking at. And I don't want you to think that you can, because I know you can't. So here's some good data. If you invested all your money in an S&P 500 index fund at the start of the century, you'd see an average return of about 6% per year over the next 20 years. That period includes things like the Great Recession, the stock market bubble, things that we experience all the time. So when people say the end of the world's coming, yeah, okay, hear me out here. If you missed the 10 best days, you were trying to time the market, get the right time in, get the right time out, oh, I'm going to be in a high yield savings account, all this like stupid stuff I hear online. You missed the 10 best days during that period, your return would be 2.44%. So you're like, wow, that's pretty substantial. Or some people might think, well, 6 versus 2%, I mean, it's a little big of a difference, but not that big of a difference. Let me show you exactly what that actually turns into long term. So if you have the same example we used earlier, $100,000 invested in the market right now, $2,500 monthly invested for 30 years, and you have a 6% return, you would have about $2.9 million, almost $3 million. However, if you decided to time the market and you missed the 10 best days over a 20-year period, pretty small little needle in the haystack couple of days, you would have $1.5 million or literally half of what you would have had. That's scary, but that's also the reality for many people. And I see this all the time. People come in my DMs and they tell me their story, and I'm like, I see so many red flags, but how could I even get this across to somebody without, them not believing me or them thinking I'm just fibbing them or something like that. And it's the first time they've talked to me. There's no trust built, but I'm like, red flag, red flag, red flag, red flag. And it's a scary reality for many people. almost every single time somebody comes to my DMs, I see so much opportunity, millions of dollars in worth. And if they just listened and took the approach of the fundamental CPA, like it would absolutely work in their favor, millions of dollars, in their favor. But you can't save everybody. And some people just aren't going to listen. Some people aren't going to listen to the podcast, all the time. They're going to be the half in, half out, the 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Sometimes show up, sometimes don't. Those people don't get results. People that listen to every podcast episode, listen to every YouTube video, listen to all my content, are part of the academy, take the investing course in the show notes below, whatever it is for the cost of a burrito. Those individuals are going to absolutely get rich because I have doing exactly what I'm teaching. And it's not like rocket science. And all my students have as well. Thousands of students, not just like 10 students. Like we have at this current moment, 1,200 students. I'm filming this right now, March 26th of 2024. And so the students have all gotten rich too. We just had a millionaire the other day, like 2 days ago. We had another millionaire, or another person become a millionaire about 5 days ago on top of that. This is a consistent trend. And if you just follow this guideline, you don't have to complicate your wealth. You don't have to know, is it the right time to invest? You don't have to worry about recessions. You don't have to worry about all this stuff. You don't have to be emotionally connected to your money. You just have to have an automated system that works for you. And you'll get really, really wealthy and hit all your financial goals. That's what I talk about all the time. So those that do listen, you guys will do very, very well. So I take it that most people listening to this are my day ones. Those are people that are all in, and we're calling shots at everyone that doesn't pay attention. They're not you guys. They're not my day ones like you. And this is a really good statistic, and this is going to blow your guys' mind. So timing the market is obviously a costly mistake for many people, amongst many other things like not knowing your investment fees, not being educated in general, all sorts of different things that I harp on quite often. Take this chart, for example. If you had $10,000 invested in 2003, January 2003, and you let that ride for the next 20 years into December 2022, your investment would be substantially different if you did not do anything versus you tried to time the market and missed the best days. If you invested the whole time, that $10,000 would turn into $65,000. But if you literally missed the 10 best days in the last 20 years, so like think how small a percentage that is. That's not like you know perfectly when that's going to happen, right? You would have 65,000 turn into 29,000, literally less than half of what you would have gotten if you just stayed in. So not only do you have to time the market, be stressed, and be emotional about your money, but you literally don't have to do anything and you can get richer. It's really, really crazy that people don't take this approach. And if you miss the 20 best days, you're at 17,000. If you miss the 30 best days, a month's worth in 20-year period, you have now 11,000. You barely even made any progress. And if you miss any of the best days after that, you literally are drowning. Your $10,000 becomes less and less. And that's a 20-year period. So think about inflation on top of that. It's significantly concerning. And you might think, well, what if I miss the best days? I don't invest during the bad times. I invest during the good times. Well, it works in reverse. So when you invest during bad times, you're buying things at a cheaper price. So when the market goes back up and you have good quality assets, when they will, you're going to make a huge return on those naturally. But that's when people naturally, from an emotional standpoint or investor psychology standpoint, decide to leave the market, unfortunately. And that time drags out and the doubt creeps in and everyone starts to freak out about the end of the world. This time's different. If you keep falling victim to that approach because the media is pushing it or everybody on social media is pushing it, you're not going to get rich. Like, it's just point blank. I'm sorry. That's what it is. As you can see, the 10 best days in the market, they're not during the best times. Like, a lot of people think, well, they're during the best times. Of course, I'll just wait till then. It's not the case. Most times, actually, in fact, over the last 20 years, every best day in the market, the top 10 best days in the market, were during horrendous times. Make it make sense. October 13th of 2008, 11.6% daily swing. This is a day swing. One day. That was during 2008. You remember what happened during that? Oh, wait, I lost my house. My parents lost their house. It wasn't a good time. That was called the Great Recession. It wasn't very fun for a lot of people. But as you can see, we have of the 10 best days of the last 20 years, I'm not going to go through every percentage, but it's 2008, 2020, COVID, 2009, Great Recession, 2020, 2008, 2009, 2008. They're not going to be during when you expect. And the next 20 years aren't going to look exactly the same either. So you're not going to look at history and say, well, this is what happened in history. This is exactly what's going to happen in the future. You can't guess. You're not going to know. And so if you want to hit your goals, Stop asking the question, is it the right time to invest in the market? Yes, the answer is always yes. But if you're even thinking that, you're thinking about it the wrong way. The way you get rich, the way you get wealthy is thinking about things differently. And that's what this whole entire podcast episode is about. It has nothing to do with, is it the right time to invest, answering that question directly. It's showing that that's not even the right way to think. If you're asking that question, you're already losing. And so most people have a burning desire to get their questions answered. They come to me and they ask their question, what stock do I pick? What's the best investment? There is none. There's no answer to those questions. And so that's why it's so frustrating. But it's also why I answer these questions at length on these podcasts with data, because I want to show you that those questions are irrelevant to your wealth. And the reason you're asking those questions is because you've made an assumption that that question will equal wealth. And so you made that connection in your head. You have to unlearn to get wealthy. And those questions being asked are why you're not wealthy. And when you learn to ask the right question and you apply the right frameworks that we talk about, you will get wealthy. You will achieve your goals, exactly what you came here to do. But if you keep asking the wrong questions, you're going to continue to get the bad result that you're not looking for. And you're going to wonder, and then you're going to get desires to chase the latest, greatest thing like Bitcoin or NVIDIA or all this other thing. It would get you into FOMO investing. Like literally, it just is a trickle-down effect, a domino effect of why people lose, the average investor over the last 20 years was 3.6% return, whereas the average market was 9.7% return. This stuff, these questions, this domino effect I'm talking about is precisely why the average investor is that. Or they rely on somebody else to make their picks, or all these types. That's why I say education is so key. The second you educate yourself, you spend a couple $1,000, into my academy or to something else, whatever the case is. You can book a call with my team if you would like. If you're at the point where you're ready to take that next step and you want to figure this out, go in my show notes, book a call with my team, see what's up. We can help you get there. And the second that you understand that paying up front to educate yourself forever at a fast rate, because time matters here, you're going to outpace your current self by millions of dollars. My friend, there's no ROI on the academy. I can't even put an ROI on it because it's going to change your life by 7 figures. And I can almost guarantee without guaranteeing that. That's how confident I am, is once you understand this whole game from start to finish, we're talking everything personal finance. We're not just talking about investing or is it the right time to invest. We're talking everything. The second you get there mentally, you've unlocked a new world of wealth. You will become wealthy. You will do exactly what I've done over a decade. $2.6 million net worth. That was not an accident. It's all the stuff I talk about. It's the reason I make these videos. So I hope this really drives home the point is to that question that you're asking, guys. Is it the right time to invest? Is it the right investment? Whatever it is. Those questions don't have answers. And you're going to consistently chase the wrong question and ask the wrong people. And some people are going to give you an answer, just so you know. Be careful of those people. You ask the wrong person, they're going to say Apple, NVIDIA, Bitcoin, whatever the case is. There's people all over social media telling you those things. And even if they happen to be right on that one, pick, there's so much data that we're not going to get into today. I'll do at a later date as to why they'll get wrong down the road so many times that it will negate the right pick. And so don't fall victim to that. And I want to see you guys win. And you have an opportunity to win in a big, big way. But that's on you to want that, to decide that for yourself. The second you guys figure this out, the game of wealth changes. It becomes easier and easier and easier. And I think my students experience that real time. And so I want you guys to be in a good position. I hope this just hammers home the point today for you guys. And I will see you guys in the next episode. Again, check below, guys, in the show notes if you guys want to get started in anything. Learn how to invest. Join Budgetdog Academy. All sorts of different resources are available to you at all times. Go to my website, budgetdog.com. And you'll see tons of stuff widely available for you, free, tons of stuff. Just go do it. Go use it. Be resourceful. Ask me questions. Don't sit there in the shadow. And, if you've never reached out to me, I don't know you have a problem. I can't read minds. My wife tells me all the time. So if you think that I can read your mind because you're listening to this podcast, plot twist, I can. In fact, if you never reached out to me, I don't even know that you're listening. You might be a phantom listener. And I want you to reach out to me and tell me what issue you're having, and we can solve that together. So I appreciate everybody today. and I will talk to you guys in the next episode.
You've been listening to Money on My Mind with your host, Brendan Schlagbaum. If you found value in today's discussion, share it with someone who could benefit from it too. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast if you haven't already, so you never miss a money mastery tip. Until next time, stay passionate about your financial journey and keep taking bold steps towards your money goals.